Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you for being with me again today. Today I will discuss the outcome of two trials that were conducted with involving two Russian soldiers who were accused of war crimes in Ukraine. Yesterday I posted a video. Actually, 2 days ago I posted a video with a 21-year-old Russian tank commander who pleaded guilty for uh, killing a civilian, and he was convicted to what life in prison. So that was his charge. It was the conviction, and it was the punishment. So we have here a another article from Reuters, where we find out that today, May 26th, 2022, two Russian soldiers plead guilty in new war crimes trial in Ukraine. And it says here, Kiev, two captured Russian soldiers pleaded guilty on Thursday to shelling a town in eastern Ukraine in the second war crime trial of the war. At the trial in the Kotelevska district court in central Ukraine, Ukrainian state prosecutors asked for Alexander Bobikin and Alexander Ivanov to be jailed for 12 years for violating the laws of war. A defense lawyer asked for leniency, saying the two soldiers have been following orders and repented. Uh, and then we have here that I am completely guilty of the crimes of which I'm accused. We fired at Ukraine from Russia, Bobikin told the court in proceedings that were streamed live. So they were streamed live. Asking not to be handed the maximum jail term, Ivanov said, I repent and ask for a reduction in the sentence. The hearing lasted under an hour. The verdict is expected on May 31st. A Ukrainian court sentenced Russian soldiers to life in prison on Monday for killing an unarmed civilian. Russia said it had no information about the trial and that the absence of diplomatic mission in Ukraine limited its ability to provide assistance. Many more such trials are expected in both Ukraine and Russia, which has denied targeting civilians or involvement in war crimes. Okay, so we start again by noting the obvious. When you are in a war, you under the pressure and the circumstances, you act in manners that you should not act in normal circumstances. The pressure, the situation, you're scared, hungry, the other person shoots at you, let's say that's civilians. I don't know, it's a lot of pressure on you. Now, obviously, this can go to, okay, why are you there in the first place? You shouldn't be there. Well, that's a different conversation. What I'm trying to say is that humans do tragic acts in war, and that's humans. It's not necessarily French soldiers or American soldiers or Russian soldiers or Romanian soldiers. This is what humans, most of us probably, will act in the same way under the same pressure. And imagine there was that famous Milgram experiment, which was the obedience, following orders experiment. I think it was in the 60s, if I remember correctly, where he used some shocks to, well, it's long to explain. Overall, is it showed that the human beings would follow orders regardless if the other person that they would harm will be harmed more and more. They will cave under the pressure of the authority figure. So that was the whole idea of the Milgram experiment. Check that out; it's very revealing. You can't do such an experiment nowadays. Nevertheless, why? Because that could be used for justifying certain crimes that occurred in the past. And nevertheless, when you say I just followed orders, as these people. I just followed orders. Nevertheless, let's go with the next point for this article. Remember, that was all a Ukrainian court. It was a Ukrainian jurisdiction, Ukrainian court, Ukrainian ran show or court hearing. Okay, then remember there are some Ukrainian prisoners in Russia. Those will be the same procedure, the same court proceeding and so on. Proceeding will be held by and organized by the Russians, and they will find some verdicts. They will issue them, and the international community will be unhappy about it, and the first thing they will claim, it would be this point, that hearing or that investigation or that court hearing was entirely a Russian run show. That will be the first attack. In the Ukraine's situation, they will not say that. Why? Because somehow, you know what I mean? These are the good guys, and the other ones are the bad guys. Not they are at war with one another, and then, you know, justice and truth are just tossed. So somehow these guys are gonna stay composed, but the other ones will not stay composed. So you watch. This is gonna be, in my assessment, is gonna be both are going to prove a point. You know what I mean? So they will just, but the Russians are waiting to see how these guys are treating their guys, and probably they're gonna do not that only. I'm not saying that, oh my God, we think that you mistreated our boys over there, so we're gonna mistreat your boys. I think that's independent of their decision or this aspect. What's interesting, yesterday I posted a video with the Russians saying that at least one official from the occupied territories, if you want to call them that way, by the Russians, said that for the Ukrainian court proceedings, international representatives will be invited to participate. Now, I don't know what it meant in the court proceeding, just as observers or nothing. So the Russians are already, you know, saying, you know what, we're not going to do a whole Russian show here. We're going to let you guys participate. And as I said, the word was representatives. So I don't know who those will be, how involved will be, what authority will have, to what extent. Nevertheless, the upper, I don't know, road right here is taken by the Russians. We say, you know what, we let them come. We're going to do it. But I don't think that they will just, you know, risk sentencing people for whatever they will find. Nevertheless, these two guys are convicted, they're sentenced. The other guy, life in prison. I do not know what happened. I just, as a human being, I'm inclined a high percentage of probability that war crimes occurred, and I know that that is a human factor and is not a Russian factor or a Ukrainian factor or an American factor. That we are under the same circumstance. We usually act the same way. So maybe with different intensity. As I said, go and check that Milgram experiment, and that could help you, not help you, but it's very revealing. This is, it's very educational. So thank you very much for, and if you want to watch another experiment, you can find on YouTube or read in the psychology books. That's the Ash, I think Solomon Ash experiment. That's a peer pressure. You know, you have in a room 10 people, and they bring a two lines. One is bigger than the other ones, and they show it to the people. And you have the control group. They will, or told before the experiment, that they should say that the lines on the paper are equal size, even though you see there's a big difference. And they say, yeah, it's equal. And the guy who's actually participating and is the participant in the experiment, the experiment is not only him, not the control group. He says, he looks around and say, what the? It's clearly they're not equal length. And because of the peer pressure that 9 people before him said, no, they're equal, he doesn't want to say, you know what guys are you talking about? He doesn't have the courage. So he just conforms and said, yes, they're equal. So, you know, this could happen in court procedures and so on. You could see it in other countries when the pressure of other aspects influences the reality. Well, thank you very much for being with me again today. Don't I mean, if you did something, investigate it, court, sentence, or whatever you find. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.